Hey ladies, I'm going for a full makeup look today for a special event, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that with my Saint palette and a few brushes. So one of the things I love so much about Saint is that you really can tailor it to your needs. On days where you just want to have a light application, you can do that. And if you're going to a special event or you're getting pictures taken, you can go a little heavier, and that's what I'm going to do today. So when you want more of a full makeup look, you're going to want to go with the buff brush. Because it's so dense, it's going to give you some great coverage. Now notice I have a lot of redness in my skin today, so I'm going to actually use my buff brush and go into a color called Aspen. You will find Aspen in the contour section. I don't know why. I don't know one person that uses Aspen as a contour. I guess if someone was really, really fair, but I'm going to use it to cover up my redness. And look how beautifully that is covering up. Not only is it covering and concealing the redness, but it's really closing my pores. So just look at the difference between this side, and that's using Aspen with the buff brush. So I'm just gonna continue, and it's just like, I just need a little bit, right? It's just a little base, and it's just going to help kind of smooth out that redness that you might have from maybe being outside, or maybe from having a sunburn, or maybe if you just have like generally kind of a reddish tone to your skin. This is gonna help to kind of settle that down before you apply your face. Okay, now another little trick I'm gonna do before I put on my face is I'm gonna work on my under eye area again, because I'm going to a special event and I really wanna make sure that I've got full coverage. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a color called Mango, and it's actually just one of our highlight shades. And because it's kind of more on the orange spectrum, it's gonna work really well to conceal the blue and purple that tends to be around my eyes. So just take a quick look at the difference between those two sides, and it's just my smudge brush and a little bit of Mango. Let me do the other side. And then what I'm gonna do is over top of this, I'm gonna put my brightening highlight as I normally would, but this is just gonna work as a bit of a base to give you that concealment that you want. Okay, so now I'm going back to my buff brush, and I'm gonna start with my brightening highlight, and I'm gonna use the small end of the brush. So in the Saint world, if you're new to this, first of all, their foundation is called Highlight. It's cream based, which means that it glides on so beautifully, and it just gets softer and softer with the heat of your skin. It also means it won't settle in the fine lines and wrinkles, so it's really great for mature skin. And again, as I mentioned before, it's so great because with different brush applications and different techniques, you can make a really soft kind of just everyday look where it literally looks like you're not wearing any makeup at all, to something a little more glam. It's also known as the 3D makeup because guess what? Your face is 3D. And so we're not just gonna put one flat color on our face, we're gonna put a combination of colors. So that was my brightening shade. I put it in my T-zone, and it's a little bit lighter than my regular shade. Now I'm gonna flip the brush and use the fatter end and dip it into a color that suits my skin tone a bit more. And the nice thing about this too is that you can kind of dab between two different colors if you're kind of in between. So right now I'm dabbing between Sandy and Hazel, and I'm just plopping it on the skin, just applying and blending as I go. So I'm covering the majority of my face with this Sandy Hazel combination because this is my main color. This is my main foundation. So I'm doing the apples of the cheek, the lower half of my face, and I'm gonna do a bit on the forehead too. Now it's time for contour, and again, this is all part of the 3D makeup. I know that sounds complicated, but again, your face is three-dimensional, so we're just gonna play with what already exists. So I'm dipping the smaller end into my contour, and I'm just gonna do a little line here that's just gonna hug that cheekbone. We wanna lift the face, so I don't necessarily wanna go too low with the contour. I wanna just cheat it a little bit to make my face look a little bit lifted. I'm gonna apply a little bit through the forehead area, and again, this is going to help kind of make the forehead a little smaller and just create some shade. I'm also gonna do the jaw, so I'm just gently tapping and smudging a little bit through the jawline. And this last part is optional. You can put a little bit on the outside edge of the nose, and this is gonna help make your nose look a little slimmer if you tend to have a wide set nose like I do. Okay, so that's it right now. So I'm gonna continue to use my buff brush, and I'm just gonna start to blend it in. So you can see I've got a couple different shades here, and I'm blending it. I blended most of it as I was going, but now that it's all done, I just need to even a couple of things out. Always trying to use an upward motion because again, we want to lift the face. except for when you're doing the jawline, and then you want to kind of brush it down because you don't want to have a makeup line. We just want to create shape. Okay, my foundation, my base is done. I've got my 2 highlight colors and my contour, and now I'm gonna add a lip and cheek. I'm gonna use a color today called Sandstone, which is kind of like a rusty orange, and I just feel like I kind of want something that goes with the corals in my dress. So I'm just dipping in and just gently applying and blending. You could go a little more if you feel like you want to. It's very blendable and very layerable. So I always say, especially with a rich color like Sandstone, start with like a little dab and then you can work your way up. Because it's easier to add more than to take away. Let's do the lips. And for the lips, I'm going to use this brush here called my Multitasker. And believe it or not, I'm gonna start with the contour. So that same contour that I put on my face, I'm gonna use it to line my lips. See how this is just creating a really beautiful frame? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip the brush, use the fatter end, and dip it into my Sandstone here. And again, isn't this palette so great? Like everything's right here. Now Sandstone is a satin, which means that it doesn't have any shine. So later I might go in and add a little bit of a gloss over top. It depends how you wanna look. There. Now guess what else I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use this small end again, go back to my contour, and I'm gonna use it to fill my brows. So that's again how versatile and multifunctional your Saint palette is going to be. And that's what's gonna get rid of that giant makeup bag that's taking up so much space on your counter, or if you travel, everything is right here and super convenient. Okay, I'll do the other side. Okay, so I'm running out of time here, but I'm gonna show you a very quick eye look. So again, I'm kind of sticking with this orangey kind of palette. I'm gonna use a color called Stay Golden, and I'm just gonna use the fat end of the eyeshadow brush and go swish, 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 back and forth to fill that space. Now I'm gonna take the smaller end of the brush and go to a color that's a little bit darker. This one's called Bubba. And I'm just gonna go onto the outer edge, and then guess what? I'm gonna cheat the crease. What that means is I'm not putting it right where my actual eyelid crease is. I'm putting it just above, and that's gonna give me some lift on my 48-year-old face. Let me quickly do those 2 steps on the other side. Okay, so swish, 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 back and forth. Then a little darker on the outer edge and cheat the crease. Make that crease a little higher than it is to give your eye some lift. I'm gonna take the new lash brush and I'm gonna take an even darker color and just apply it as a liner. The other side. This is a nice alternative to a pencil, again, because it's all in one palette and because it's just a little softer. This lash brush is gonna allow me to apply some mascara to those really tiny bottom lashes. I'm gonna add a little illuminator for a bit of shine right to the tops of those cheekbones with a really soft brush and a bit on the tip of the nose. And then lastly, I'm gonna apply some of the feather dust and the vanilla dust with my big blush and bronzer brush, and this is gonna set everything for the night. And there you have it, full coverage makeup from Saint. Tell me what you think, comment below.